Hi everyone. Today what we're doing is a pick a card reading or a pick a deck reading, and the question that we're going to be looking at today is, what message does Spirit have for me? This is one of those videos that's designed to be timeless, so whenever you come across it is when is the perfect timing for you to have whatever message it is that you choose from the decks. So I'm going to be inserting a picture probably right about here, so you'll see that deck 1 is my Wildwood Tarot. Deck 2 is my Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg deck, and deck 3 is my Tarot Grand Lux. So just pick one of those decks and we will see what Spirit has to say to you for today. So we're going to start with deck number 1, which is my Wildwood Tarot, and see what the message is for you from Spirit. For those of you who are fascinated or interested or drawn to this deck. So I'm going to start with actually doing a little reading from the stone that was sitting on top of each of these decks and see what Spirit has to say through one of the stones. This actually, I think it's called Oniceros, but I'm not sure. I can tell you that what it is a fossil of the precursor to what we know today as the squid. And I can tell you that the message that is coming through for me off of this for you guys is that it's a good time for you to be really focused on what you want to accomplish. Focus is a big part of the advice from Spirit for you guys, to focus your energies in a particular place. Don't allow your energies to be scattered all over. Whatever it is that you want to accomplish, you want to be very focused on it during the time frame that we're looking at. And I'm going to say that this is going to be the time frame of, from now going 3 days forward from whenever it is that you walk across this video and stop by and use it. Okay, so focus, focus, focus. What other advice do we have coming up? Okay. All right, so those of you who chose card deck number 1, what's coming out, I'm kind of looking at this as what's a heads up and what's advice about that heads up. So the first thing that we have coming up for you as the heads up, we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. For those of you who know the tarot, I'm sure you'll want to see this. You have the protection card in reverse. This would be my Four of Wands for that deck, or Four of Stones, excuse me, which would be like a Four of Pentacles. And then we have the Seer also showing up in reverse. Okay, so this is basically a heads up that you're very confused right now, and that confusion has you feeling like you don't want to make any moves, and also you're feeling really vulnerable. And I think that vulnerability is adding to your sense of confusion, and so not really feeling like taking action because you feel like you're in a vulnerable position and you're really confused here about what's the best action to take, and possibly even a little bit worried about what consequences could be if you don't take the most correct action. Okay, and we want to remember, what was our message here? Focus, focus, focus. So obviously the first bit of advice is that you want to focus on the solution. Focus on finding the solution, coming out of that sense of confusion and focusing on the solution. Now, let's look next at what Spirit has for advice about your situation. First of all, we have the Two of Bows showing up in reverse. We also have the Knight of Vessels, or the eel, in this deck. And we have the Eight of Bows, or the Hearthfire. Okay, so when we're looking at Spirit's advice about how to handle this situation of vulnerability, confusion, of not wanting to move forward, of stagnancy, what Spirit is showing here is that there is a decision to be made. And Spirit's acknowledging that you're confused about this decision, but Spirit is also saying that no matter which way you go will be good. There's not a bad choice here. There's not a wrong answer here. Either option that you choose is going to be a good option. That's what this Two of Bows says to me. Okay, so you're confused about which way to go, but either way you go will be fine. Spirit's advice is follow what you love. This is the eel. The eel thinks outside the box whenever looking for a solution. He thinks things through, but he also feels things through. And for me, this is Spirit saying, follow what you love. It is the Knight of Cups after all. So you're taking action that follows your heart. Okay. And then with this Eight of Bows, the other bit of advice here is that you have a support group. You have a support network. And that support network is very helpful. So you want to brainstorm with people that you know about what would be a good solution for this situation. You want to enlist the help of your friends and your support network in whatever this is that's making you feel vulnerable and confused. You want to be pulling in their information, their wisdom. You want advice from people who have been down this road before, who know what this pathway looks like. So wherever it is that you're feeling confused, where you're feeling like you're in a vulnerable situation and you don't know what to do about it, so you're feeling stuck, you're really not doing anything about it. Okay, well, you know, the temptation there when we're not doing anything about it is also not to think about it. We don't want to do that. We want to focus on the solution here. Okay? Focus on the solution, and part of focusing on the solution is realizing that whatever decision you make, whichever way you decide to go, is a good decision. There's no bad decision here. And follow your heart. Since there's no bad decision here, follow your heart. That's the way you want to go. You're going to enjoy that solution more. And also enlist the help of friends. Okay? So that's your message from Spirit for today. For Group 1. Let's put these away. And then we're going to pull out the card deck for Group 2. By the way, those of you who are watching, if you feel like time stamping, if you have the time to do that, feel free, please do so. I'm sure that would benefit many people. And I don't think I'm going to have time to do that today. Let's move on to Group 2. So Group 2 is Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg with the Labradorite piece on top. So let's take a peek at the Labradorite and see what it has to say to you. A lot of you may know the Labradorite is also known as the Shaman Stone. It offers protection as you go back and forth between the worlds. Interesting. I'm seeing a crow here. So this is going to be for a lot of you who do work with energy, whether you work with energy in a healing modality or you do something like what I do. I'm hearing that for a lot of you, this is what you do is scrying, but for some of you will be using cards or just straight up reading energy with no tools. Some of you will use runes, but this is for those of you who, I think a lot of you actively go back and forth through the energy. And this really encourages practicing that, keeping that going, moving that forward, making your ability to go back and forth in the energies, whichever way you do that, making it precision, really harnessing it. So if you're using healing, you know, and going back and forth between the energies, if you're using shamanic healing or if you're using reiki or any of the other energy modalities for healing, practice this, sharpen it, make it so that you can go in and do more precision healing work. If this is about reading, this talks about practice your abilities so that you can read in a more precise, precision manner. Basically, this is calling you to upgrade, up-level, whatever your skills or abilities are in the energetic world. If you picked this, Some of you are going to pick this and say, oh no, that's not me. If you picked this, this is for you. If you pick this and you're saying, oh, this is not for me, then that just means that you haven't really tapped in yet. And now is the time for you to start tapping into the energetic world. Whether your interest is in healing or fortune telling or whatever, now is the time for you to start digging in and start learning and level up your game. Level it up to beginner. Level it up from curiosity to beginning. All right, so we're going to set that stone aside. And we're going to look at any kind of heads up Spirit might want to give group 2. And then we're going to look at best advice for handling whatever that heads up might be. La da 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 da. La da da da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Okay, so for the heads up portion of this, what we have is the Ace of Swords in reverse. The Knight of Clubs. And the Hermit. Okay, let's look at this a little bit. Whenever I'm looking at this Ace of Swords in reverse, the translation is coming to me a little bit differently than what it normally does. But I feel like there is somebody in your midst who has told you a lie. Somebody on your sphere of influence. They've told you a lie, and this is a significant lie, I think, because you have made some decisions based on what you think is a fact, and it is not actually. Okay? So somebody has told you a lie that you based some decisions on. With this Knight of Clubs, you took action based on that lie because you believed the lie, you believed the source, you thought that what they were saying was true, and so you had some kind of inspired action where you wanted to take action on that and be able to do something with that information that would make you happy and that might even be profitable. And we see you here going into hermit mode. And I think why you're going into hermit mode is because you have realized that the action that you have taken is based on a lie. And now you're stepping back. You're stepping back from taking any more action. And you're stepping back and you're regrouping. You're thinking about, well, what am I going to do about this? I'm hearing that there's already damage done from the action that I've taken, not realizing that I was working with a lie. And so this is, you're stepping back. You're not taking action now. Now you're thinking things over, you're meditating, you're looking at what's the best solution for this situation. How do I do damage control here? And how do I get back on the right track? Okay. Now for some of you this will have already happened and you could be in that place where you're doing that right now. For others of you this may be something that's coming up that Spirit is giving you a heads up. Okay, look out for this. This really, when I think about the message of this stone with this whole lie thing, then this really narrows things down for me. This isn't so much about even about doing energy work as much as it's about the whole idea of finding the truth. So this is for people who seek the truth energetically, who seek the truth spiritually, who know that not always can human sources be relied upon. This is talking about practice. Practice your abilities. So to me, the fact that this stone came up first and now this is our heads up says that somebody got away with lying to you and it slipped under the radar. Now, I don't think it slipped totally under the radar. I think that you had a bad feeling about this. I think that you knew, some inner part of you knew, but you didn't pay attention to your gut instinct. And since you didn't pay attention to your gut instinct, you went forward with this because it was exciting. And it allowed you to do something that you felt very excited about. And now you're at this point of, okay, now how do I do damage control? How do I get back on track? So this is basically saying, you know, if this hasn't happened already, pay attention to your gut instinct so that this doesn't actually happen for you. Pay attention to your intuition. Don't just poo-poo it. It's important. The messages that come through intuition are important. But if this has already happened to you, then this is a message saying, this is a part of stepping up that intuition. This is a part of looking back and going, oh, so I was getting a message intuitively not to do this. And if I would have followed this, I wouldn't have found myself in this mess. Next time a message comes through and it feels like that, looks like that, smells like that, tastes like that, however the message comes through to you, because there are 5 psychic senses, by the way, then you're going to realize, you know what, next time I'm going to pay attention to that message. Okay? And it's not about Spirit being mad because you didn't pay attention to it. It's just about learning what those messages feel like and learning when is the time to pay attention to them. When is the time to apply those messages to our lives. Okay? So now, group 2, best advice how to handle this situation now that you're in it. We start off with the Death card in reverse. We've got the 2 of clubs showing up here. Right side up. And we have the 10 of coins showing up in reverse. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, I don't know yet. I've been busy talking to y'all. Basically, you have a choice to make here. You have a choice to make as far as how are you going to come back from this or how are you going to recover from this. And I'm hearing that in some cases you could do a combination of both. But this tells me that you have a choice here and that either choice is a good choice. So you could do a combination of both or you could do one or the other of these. With the Death card in reverse, this just talks about whatever it was that your actions kind of killed off before. You can go back and revitalize them, revive them, bring them back to life, take them off the back burner and move forward with them again. Okay? And then the other choice is, with this 10 of coins in reverse, if you do nothing, I feel like if you do nothing, this takes away from your security, your sense of stability physically. But I don't feel like that's something that you can do nothing or you can revitalize or you can do both. You can't do nothing and revitalize. So I think that's just kind of a little bit of a warning about doing nothing. Now, the other bit of advice here is that you can really pour some energy or some finances into this situation. But I'm feeling like for most of you, this is more about energy. That you can go back and rebuild and redo. Wherever you were taking that action before, you can change the course on that action and move forward with it, but move forward with it in a different direction. Okay? So for some of you, that's the way to go. For others of you, whatever it is that this action killed off, you want to revitalize it. With that Death card in reverse, you want to revitalize it. For some of you, you want to do both. Whatever that action killed off, you want to revitalize it, and you want to, some of you want to continue forward with that action that you took, but you just want to change direction with it. It was a good action, it was just misguided, so you may want to change direction with it. So for some of you, you may want to do both of these. Okay? And what would we have to say about that with our stone? We would have to say that making this choice, rely on your intuition. Your intuition will not lead you wrong, and you know what your intuition feels like a little bit better than you did before all this came to be. Okay? So that was stack 2. Excuse me. When I talk that long, I have to wet my whistle. All right. Now let's look at card deck 3. This is going to be the Tarot Grand Luxe with the rose quartz over the top of it. So as we're looking at this, I do want to start with the stone first. See what message comes through with the stone. Rose quartz, of course, is a stone that facilitates love. Love in every facet. So familial love, brotherly love, sisterly love, romantic love, erotic love, all of it. I've never looked at this stone this closely before, but it has quite a few fractures in it. This is telling me that you have a situation where there's somebody in your sphere of influence that your love for them and their love for you has some fractures, has developed fractures over time, has developed these imperfections. There's little areas where that love isn't as solid as it used to be. Little parts of your life that they're not so sure they like, and little parts of their life that you're not so sure that you like. So we've got a love here that has developed some fractures. It's taken some hits. But it's still here. Surprisingly, it's still in peace. The more I look at this stone, the more I'm surprised that it's still here in the shape of a heart. And so this tells me you have some kind of love in your sphere of influence that has maintained more or less against all odds. Okay? So now, let's take a peek at the cards. What does Spirit have to say to you through the cards today? For group 3. By the way, those of you who don't mind, if you have time, if you could timestamp this, that would be great. I'm not sure I'm going to have time to do that. How I'm setting this up, this message from Spirit for today, today being whenever you come across this video, is that I'm asking Spirit basically for a heads up of what it is we're talking about, what type of situation we're talking about, and then best advice about how to handle that situation, plus the stone reading, which is kind of the overarching energy, or it sort of gives us a basis or a foundation of what it is that we're talking about in general. Okay. So for the heads up portion of this, what we have is the Three of Wands. First card out. Second card out. Queen of Coins. Third card out. The High Priestess. So I think that this is talking about you guys, my card 3 people or deck 3 people. And this is talking about that you all, first of all, you all are showing up as the Queen of Coins, which is somebody who is very well grounded, somebody who's pretty secure in their situation in life. Somebody who likes to share the good that they have. And you don't have to be a she just because a queen showed up here, but somebody who likes to share the good things that they have. Now, you do have some boundaries up between yourself and somebody in your sphere of influence, or a group, maybe everybody in your sphere of influence for some of you, but definitely we have this idea of boundaries. And you have those boundaries up because you have a secret that you don't want to share. So you're keeping these boundaries up in the hopes that that will keep this other person or these other people from finding out about your secret. Okay? Now remember what we started off with is fractured love. Now when we have love that's fractured, we don't always trust that person that our love is fractured with, because we know that they do what? They judge us. And when somebody judges us, it makes it really hard for us to tell them everything there is to tell about a situation. Okay? So we can see that the reason you want to keep this secret is because of this fractured love, the lack of trust, not able to be totally yourself in front of this person. Okay? Now, let's look at best advice for you in this situation. We have the Moon in reverse. We have the Knight of Wands in reverse. And we have the Nine of Wands coming up right side up. First of all, I feel like the best advice here is for you to open up and tell the truth. And that truth has to deal with this idea that there was somebody or is somebody in your sphere of influence who is flighty, who doesn't know how to settle their interest in one place and not a zillion, who doesn't know how to keep their energy from scattering. This may be a person who, if you have been dating them or if you're romantically connected to them or attached to them in any way, this may be a person who is a runaround type of person that has multiple girlfriends or boyfriends. And you haven't wanted to share that secret. Maybe you haven't wanted to tell them that you know this. Maybe there's somebody else in your life that you haven't wanted to share this secret with. Maybe you just didn't want to admit that, you know, this person isn't everything that you thought they were. That happens quite a bit. If that's the case, you're certainly not alone. This last card, the Nine of Wands, basically says that when you share this truth, when you bring this truth out, to be prepared for the fallout, because there will be some fallout with this. Now, if you're sharing that you know this with this person who's been acting in a flighty way, the fallout would be coming from them. They may decide that, well, since they know, I may as well hit the road. Or they may want to fight. But if you're sharing this truth with somebody else who's in your sphere of influence, who cares about you, you want to be prepared for that fallout, because once again, there will be some fallout. They're going to look at this other person in a different way. And if you continue to stay with this person, they're going to look at you in a different way. But the other thing that we have showing up is, remember, we have this fractured love that showed up as the very first message, that by making yourself vulnerable, by coming out with this truth, whoever this truth is that you're coming out to about, this allows some of those fractures to heal. Okay? Where you were keeping things secret, and that was causing boundaries to be put up between you and this person. Now you don't have to keep those boundaries up. Now this person knows. You can just be open and honest with them. And that allows some of these fractures to heal over, and improvement in the relationship. Okay? So that's what we have for card deck number 3. I hope you guys found this helpful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing if you haven't already. And of course, thank you to those of you who are scheduling private readings and private Reiki sessions with me. It is because of all of you guys' support that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So thank you very much. Everyone have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all back here the next time. Peace out.